should probably not show the music playing while it's recording.
Yeah, probably.
That was me indicating that we'd started recording.
Yeah, by not indicating that in any way, shape, or form.
Start recording
to
the longest, shortest video ever.
We've been tackling how we wanted to do a 100% overclock tier list, and we saw Axis Chronos do a speed run, and we thought that'll probably work.
We were filled with so much rage and passion.
Yeah, well, yeah, that, and we kind of disagree with a lot of what he said. We mainly disagreed with his use of the clean overclocks.
That's really what drove us to make this video. We still have our opinions that differ from his.
Yeah.
But we think that's what gives us good enough reason, is that we're actually going to be ranking the cleans properly.
Yeah. We're not taking cheats.
There's no clean tier.
He has a 100% speed run, but he took a shortcut cheat, and we're not going to be doing that. So 100%. There's probably a name for it, right? Where you're not allowed to use cheats. Probably no cheats speedrun, I imagine.
Glitchless.
But yeah. Harry will now explain the tiers, and once we've done that, the speedrun will start.
Okay, so that's it. S basically is either the best or a pinnacle of what the weapon can offer. Because it could be the best. There could only be one overclock in S for a gun, but it can be multiple. But they're sort of you'd think they'd be different enough, but it represents two different peaks. Essentially, the best, basically, right?
Yeah.
A is basically you are a very good person if you use it. There is nothing wrong with your choice, and it can represent it can an A tier can very easily still uphold its own build and define its own build, but it's not necessarily the peak of the weapon.
I think at this point, if you're using double warning has fives, anything in S or A will probably work, right? I think that S would work easily maybe, but in A you'd still be fine. But entering into B
is sort of just a solid upgrade, but you're probably not getting any builds around that overclock. Basically, it's not doing anything special. It's not raising the gun that high up, but it's still nothing but a positive. C is sort of the confused tier, where it's it's either neutral or beneficial, but there's not really a good reason to use it over things in B to S tier.
Yeah.
D for downgrade.
Outright bad.
Yeah, because Y is different, because Y can be neutral, but it's more just it's more why does this exist? There's actually more reason. There's more reason to use these just for the novelty or the fun. But the question why is it in the game, not why are you using it as much. Although you shouldn't be using anything in this tier thinking that it's good still. And that's the tiers, baby. So we're looking. I think. Also, it's really dumb that the boomerang is called the ouch stick. Right, let's begin.
Alright. Lighter tanks.
Flamethrower, clean ammo. Oh, I'll do that, by the way. Basically, I'll give a not even really a sentence. So, example, lighter tanks, flamethrower, clean ammo. That's what I'll say for everything.
It's not that much ammo, is it? It's
50?
25 or 50, something like that. I think it's B or C. I think B is probably more accurate, yeah.
B
I think
is going to be...
needs ammo.
B is going to be fucking stacked, by the way. Obviously because we're working with...
where most of the cleans will go.
Obviously because we're working with so many more variables, but even proportionally, I think there's going to be more Bs, proportionally, than any other tier list as well. Ice Storm. Ice Storm. So, Cryo Cannon, big damage. Unstable.
It's good at what it does, but I don't think the Cryo should really be doing that. I don't know. It's not the best. I think it's definitely not S. I'm gonna put it in S.
I was thinking C because it's confused, where it's technically good, right? But
I mean,
but at the same time, you could build a really a what? Well, no, I can see why this exists.
Like, it increases the damage. It increases the damage, but its main thing is that it increases the damage when enemies are frozen. Except enemies are barely ever frozen when using Ice Storm. You're not really ever going to gain the boost that it gives you most of the time. You're just going to have the step 1 of the boost being increased damage. So I don't know. I think I would be fine with actually putting it in C, to be honest, because I think it's not that good. If you want to do damage with the Cryo, you have options.
The thing is, it is definitely weird because I don't think it's actually bad at all. But like, it could, for some people, it would be D because they don't quite get it, maybe, and it's also not useful in a lot of scenarios. But I would still consider it if you get along. You don't even have to get along with it. If you just use just the basic correct upgrades, it's still a positive, or it's still a good thing to use. It's arguably not an upgrade though to the Cryo Cannon. Unlike Snowball, which is not particularly an upgrade either, but it just adds something. And you can definitely build around it. I don't like
Snowball. Very rarely use it, but it's definitely sitting at like minimum B. I think a lot
of people really like it. I think a lot of people do really like Snowball, and I can see why.
Flash freezing is good.
And the range as well. Pretty crazy.
Is Snowball the one that takes up a lot of ammo? Is that
no, but you do lose a bit of ammo capacity, but it doesn't use as much ammo as Ice Spear. Well, I think it's probably better than Ice Spear. Well, okay. What we'll say, we need to be quick. So if
quite a match,
given that it's in B already, it should probably just stay there because we're not going to be moving things around until like the very end. Hydrogen ion additive.
Yeah, we're doing far too slow.
A. This is sludge pump, just more damage over time and slowed down, packed into one. It's just amazing DPS.
Isn't it like one of the best things for it?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so
it's not really one of the peaks. Volatile impact mixture would be probably above it for most people. AG mixture.
All right, then let's get to that. AG mixture. I think it's not a downgrade. I think it's definitely
extremely neutral.
It's good at what it is, right?
Yeah, it's definitely not a Y. It definitely can help you hit things.
It does allow you to shoot
better.
It reliably. So I think we're looking at like B probably or C. What is C again?
C because I think neutral. B is usually much more of an objective upgrade. C can still be a positive, but it's more neutral to confused. I think AG mixture leans a bit more towards neutral because it's not really like damage or ammo or anything. That's sort of.
It doesn't do anything other than help you hit.
Right, these two, balance, sludge pump, big damage, big puddle. Community rankings would put both of them in S, I think.
Yeah.
People would. I'm not convinced about this being an S, but that's what people say about it.
No, this is our tier list, Harry. What people say doesn't matter, but I do think that increases the status effect, right? I still think it is.
No, this is just direct damage. It actually worsens the damage over time.
Direct damage. Yeah, then I'm not. I don't know. I'm not quite fond of that one. The dispersal compound, it's good at what it does, it being like covering an area, but I don't know. I don't think it's that special either. I don't know, because it's going to be one of these three. It's going to have to be RS, isn't it? But in all fairness, Harry, I don't really like the sludge pump. It's up to you.
Well, this is how I've always felt about it.
All of them are good.
Really. I think.
Yeah.
Because it's still good at both of these things, really. Because more puddles equals more damage to more enemies, and you really don't lose much at all with this. The downsides are really negligible, and it just does.
All right, hurry up.
Does cool stuff. Goob Bomber Special.
Never actually.
This is sort of like.
I never want to.
This makes me want to use the Y tier. And I actually know I would put it in Y because
it fits in it.
Yeah, it fits in it because like, there are scenarios when this is better than normal, but they come about rarely, and they're not well defined either. You can't go into any particular mission, for example, and be like, this is what suits Goo Bomber Special. That doesn't apply. I couldn't think of a single mutator either where it helps out in any particular way. It's just a less practical version of the Sludge Pump. It doesn't really have any downsides, really. It just changes quite extremely, but not in a way that's particularly good. You can argue that the changes themselves is the downside.
Jesus Christ, Harry, speedrun! What part of speedrun do you understand? Like, yeah, it's confusing. It just changes the way you charge shot, which could be the same thing for Sludge Blast, but I would argue Sludge Blast is simple and worse than the Goo Bomber. So yeah, I think if you want to put it in D, I'm comfortable and fine with putting it in D.
Sludge Blast. It's just big. It's just a lot of chunk damage, but I don't think it's very efficient at all. So
yeah, is it? I mean,
it's literally okay. I've used it a little bit recently. It basically just feels good against bosses and nothing else. Like not even big targets in normal missions.
The Sludge Pump is good at that anyway, just at a slower tearing down rate. So it's fine. It doesn't need it. But yeah, moving on. Chain hit for the Sabata, right?
Yeah, it's basically just
it's not a
weak point ricochet on the Sabata.
Okay, weak point actually. I mean,
on the Sabata as well. That's completely useless on the Sabata.
Why? Sabata likes weak points.
Yeah, but it's not increased weak point damage. It's trying to do like really shit crowd clearing via hitting weak points.
Yeah, which is. But that's. I mean, it doesn't have any other option, does it? Weak point or AOE wise, does it?
Yeah, but it's not AOE still. It's not doing anything. It's nowhere near even close.
Then you're going to add every single ricochet into Y. You can't set this. It does what it does. It's not inherently good though. I think it belongs in D, not Y. It makes sense. If a bit convoluted, like it's not a Y.
Definitely a Y.
It's just bad.
So we have to assume that this. Yeah, well, this is a Sabata homebrew powder. I'll defer to you for this one. I don't care.
I mean, the Sabata's... It's just using the Sabata, except generally, on average, you do more damage, which is not bad. I think, it's just a slightly better, slightly more interesting Sabata, which doesn't hurt. Alright, moving on.
Sticky additive. This is Flamethrower. It's like a slight bit of damage and slight sticky flame duration. So probably C, because it's obviously not better than Face Melter or Sticky Fuel. And there's a clean, it's not better than lighter tanks. There's not much reason to use it, but it's all positives.
It's not bad.
It's definitely it's definitely not neutral, but C can still encompass things that are an upgrade. It's just positives, but there's not a particularly good reason to use it. Because these two exist.
I guess is why you actually put chain hit in. Chain hit shouldn't really be in D, considering it's a clean, so it can't actually be a negative. So I guess put it in Y. Fine, sure.
Okay.
Because I don't think any clean should be in D.
Oversized magazine.
That's what the Sabata, isn't it? I've never really used it. I could see how it would be good, because generally it would, it means you'd have to reload less and you get to more ammo, right? Technically.
Yeah, it's like big magazine increase. I haven't used it really, but that's because I don't. It's kind of the ones where I don't really feel the need to use it to sort of understand what it is. I didn't know the negative either. It's just slightly longer reload time. So that sounds like
doesn't really need this either. It's a pretty neutral. I think it's C. The Sabata doesn't need extended mags. Its reload is quick enough to deal with the small small size.
It's really just preference.
The reload. We're giving you more. Yeah,
it's
but
I
think it's
magazine.
It's a neutral. Yeah, it doesn't actually buff the Sabata in any real way, other than a little extra ammo, I guess, technically. Meanwhile, you got these three coming up. Automatic fire, I've dabbled with, and it isn't good, but it feels good. If you're comparing it to the normal Sabata, you can actually use it. But I think we're still looking at B or A.
Automatic fire is definitely a positive, and if you can keep a hands on it, it's really good DPS. But I don't consider it a real big upgrade.
I mean, it's probably the best thing Sabata's got to combat with ice, because it's going to be the best way of dealing damage to frozen targets. So, I mean, explosive reload, I think is S. I think. Do you agree?
Both do. Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, when they buffed explosive reload for the Sabata, it was the only point in time that Sabata's ever been usable. Because before that, it wasn't that they had to buff it, and now it's like the only thing that you can use on it reliably. But yeah, it's the only thing that actually does damage. Tranquilizer rounds, I hear, I think you mentioned it's good, considering it's like the best stun thing.
Yeah, I haven't really used it. I'm just speaking objectively from what I can see about it.
You don't really need stun. I mean, it's not bad, but like, I mean, compare it with just generally, it's just not that good. You don't really need it. Or it's good at what it is. I think it's B. But I don't think it's needed, so it can't really be high. It's good.
Probably shouldn't actually be B. It's probably safer to put it in C because it's quite slow as well. It really slows it down.
Yeah.
And decreased magazine capacity too. Where explosive reload gets away with having decreased magazine capacity. This kind of doesn't. And it's also, like you said, it's not really needed on Driller, so you can't really make a build around it as much. So I think C. We're sort of turned C into the normal, what B tier normally is, but it's fine. Alright, back to the Flamethrower. These two.
Compact feed valves, I think.
Big ammo, big magazine. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, that is my pick for the best Flamethrower.
What, that one?
Overclock. Yeah, I do. I think that's the best thing you can put on a Flamethrower, because as long as your Flamethrower is setting things on fire, it doesn't need anything more than ammo. And with the only exception being the next one, the Flame Stream Diffuser, whatever, Fuel Stream Diffuser, is nice. I don't think it's inherently necessary, but it is a very valid thing to have.
I think this one's really good. Okay, yeah, sure, B. But I really like... This is probably my favourite one. Not my favourite... No, this is my favourite, actually. But I think this is a really cool use. It's the robot killer, basically.
No, I think it's... Yeah, I use it as a robot killer. But yeah, as far as other things, though, it's just kind of handy, not necessarily better than some other things. And this is where the issue comes, because...
This is where people will take issue with us.
Yeah, I mean... Because as mentioned, I find Combat V-Valves better than both of these, but I feel like I can't, in good faith, put it in S either. That's just how I feel about Flamethrowers Overclocks.
Well, I was thinking that these two are probably pretty equal, because this is like longer range, longer range, but this is shorter range with more damage. To me, they sort of are in a similar boat. I just don't like Face Melter.
I think Face Melter should be in B. It's good at what it is, kind of. It's not amazing, but
I don't think it's actually that good at what it's supposed to be. From what I've heard, it's actually good at setting things on fire still, more than normal, which doesn't make sense to me, but I don't know. I think okay, but we need to focus on this.
Sticky fuel, the issue is with sticky fuel is that I hate the mechanic, and I hate that the Flamethrower leans so heavily on it, especially now with the sludge pump, which is basically the same shit but better. But sticky fuel is undeniably the best thing you can do with a Flamethrower. It's like the most ammo efficient, damage, slow down. It's like everything you'd want in a gun, just used awkwardly. And so you have to give it S, but that doesn't mean I'm using it over compact feed valves. I'm sorry.
So you're saying that we should put it
S? It's the best thing.
Just out of obligation.
Because it's the best thing. It's the best thing to put on the Flamethrower.
Okay, but this is probably the only one where we're putting it somewhere out of obligation, because I don't feel this way at all. But
I don't even... No, I agree, though. That is the best thing to do with a Flamethrower. I just fucking hate the playstyle that it then forces you to do. It's nothing about the overclock itself. It's just the sticky fuel mechanic I find tiresome. So I can acknowledge that for what it does to the gun, it's the best thing for it. But I don't enjoy using it, so I won't.
Well, obviously,
that's my kind of take
I don't have time to elaborate now, but I actually do disagree with it being the best thing for Flamethrower. Anyway, alright, this is just ammo, and you can shoot for longer, so it's like magazine size, cryo cannon.
What's this for?
Cryo cannon. I know a lot of people actually really like this one.
Probably B then. I mean, ammo on the thing is pretty good.
It's pretty difficult to argue because it's two positives, and I've heard good things about it, so B makes a lot of sense to me.
And they're good positives, yeah. B adds up. Tune caller S.
S? I mean, you've seen some weird things about it recently. I mean, I'm obviously A at least, but
it's the one that freezes, right?
I think it's still the most popular one on the cryo cannon.
S.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really use anything else on the cryo cannon.
The cryo cannon freezes, right? And that is what does it the best, which I guess is only to fight with this one, I guess. Because this is just...
yeah, but this is a Y.
You shoot quick.
Because it's like the same, just with numbers swapped around in a way that's worse.
It is. It's basically the tune caller takes longer to charge up, but when it does, it freezes quicker. This you shoot quicker, but then it takes longer to freeze.
Well, this increases freeze power and flow rate, fire rate. But so does this? This does the same
to charge up.
Yeah, but this does the same fire rate increase. It's the same increase in fire rate, but without the cooling. It's just pointless when you have this.
Yeah.
So I really,
it's because it's personal preference, but I think that's just, it's kind of weird that they put two. It's just basically the same thing. But yeah, I think Ice Spear is a solid A. I think that is your damage option for the cryo. If you want to use cryo against the dreadnought, Ice Spear is your thing. You should be running, not the other one, Ice Storm.
I mean, I prefer Ice Storm for dreadnoughts, but compact mags. Oh shit, where we at? Oh right.
Which one's this for?
But so this is like something I kind of agreed with Axis Cronus on, where he loves this, and I think it's pretty good too.
Isn't that it's better than the other ones, isn't it, for ammo?
It's just a shit ton of ammo, but no, you don't lose damage, which is important. It's probably the biggest ammo increase without losing damage, which is why it's so good. You do lose fire rate and reload speed, but this is good stuff, man.
I think A probably it's fair enough. Experimental rounds. What's that for?
This is just big damage, but you lose ammo, and the Burt doesn't have like amazing base ammo.
Oh, that one.
It's like it's pretty close to lead spray, but you have accuracy, but less ammo. It's weird.
I probably B, right? I mean, it's the accuracy kind of doesn't make it completely irrelevant. You can actually then have damage at range with the Burt, so I think you've got to give it that.
Yeah, it's on the cusp of being made irrelevant. This isn't
electromindlet.
This isn't actually a Y. This is a D because it's just a downgrade.
Yeah, I suppose.
You'd want to use it if you want to use electricity, you know. I guess it blurs sometimes these two, but when it's more of a downgrade than just a confusing addition, it's confusing why it's so bad, but I don't think it's completely unwarranted in existence. I just wish it was better. Microflechets is more of a Y though, because it's not really a downgrade. It just can't do anything.
No, I think microflechets makes sense, but they went too far. I think microflechets, I can't say the fucking word, is a D. It's like, a ton of ammo, but you lose the damage that you know, so you basically just have to shoot more.
But you've got too much ammo, proportionally. You just can't get it out quick enough to do the damage.
Yeah, it feels horrendous to use. Absolutely terrible. Actually, no, why? I think it is why, because it's just dumb as to why they would... do that to the gun, basically. So if I ask why they would do that, then it belongs in Y. I think that's probably the best way of doing it. But yeah, let's spray S.
Yeah, honestly, let's not be stupid about this. I'm not going to be I'm not going to be a silly man. I'm not a lead spray supporter.
I absolutely love lead spray.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've witnessed the death that it can bring upon things, right? Like the Dreadnought's health just evaporating into smoke. Like, the lead spray is just, it's amazing at what it does.
Oh, I know what it is. I just don't like
amazing.
Using my gunner secondary for whatever this is. Shotgun. It's a shotgun is what it is. But yeah, it's crazy.
Best shotgun in the
fucking
game.
I don't know how this ended up here. I think I did something early on. I accidentally put this here. This is actually for the UPC. It's the ammo and charge rate one, aka one of the best ones because it's really flexible.
Yeah,
you've got more ammo. So it's good for kind of good for direct damage, but more of the plasma burn thing, and really good for thin containment field and just using charge shots like Flying Nightmare.
Isn't that also the? Is that the one that people use for the mining? EPC mining? Is it that one?
I think it's the one that you use for it, and it's what I would use. I don't see why people wouldn't.
Yeah, well,
it's a really good one.
Yeah,
it is one of the strongest cleans. I think.
Yeah, it's definitely very good. Obviously, there's a normally better one that you know of, but yeah. All right, now apparently we're just somehow into Gunner now. God, this order is chaotic.
I know, it's brilliant, isn't it? So this is ultramagnetic coils, coil gun, trail duration and radius. I think this is actually the best overclock on the coil gun. I've used this, and
you're not even joking, are you?
Not at all. I've used this a lot recently. This is one of the most efficient crowd clearers in the game. Used properly, it's amazing.
I'm not gonna fight you or condone this. I'm gonna sit back and then see if anyone comments on it. This is not. This is just a take that I'm letting Harry sit with. He's the torchbearer for that.
All right. Backfeeding module. Very, very strange because it's not. This is just big ammo on coil gun, and you lose a bit of damage. It's not really good for direct damage because you lose some, but it's not really good for AoE because it's not as good when it comes to trails as this or that. So it's in a really weird spot.
Like C? Probably C.
Not D. I was actually thinking either C or Y because its existence is strange, but C is probably more like it because, big ammo overclocks that aren't micro flechettes probably shouldn't be in Y. It's still something. If you like ammo, you'll like backfeeding module.
I don't understand why they did it. It doesn't make any sense.
This one's a Y. It has one crazy use I haven't actually used yet, but it's very specific and almost seems unintentional. And they patched out things that could have made it good.
Every single thing that people have okay, we found a way to make Reatomizer good, and then immediately it gets patched because it was a glitch. Everything good about Reatomizer is a glitch, and the only thing that you're supposed to use it for is I guess spread fire or neurotoxin or something, but that doesn't need to be done.
No, it's completely. No, Tyler, you can't spread fire itself. So it's it's completely useless. It's just not a downgrade technically. I mean, it's a balance now. It was. They changed it to a clean, so it's got no downgrades. It's got no downsides, but it's still a Y. It doesn't make any sense.
No, there it is. It's created so many issues, and I'm surprised they didn't just remove it, to be honest, rather than patching all the glitches it made, or the bugs. But the mole. I think is why that was done well. It was let's fuck it, let's play around.
Well, it's either going to be a Y or in this zone. It's just that to really get the best out of it, it's far too specific. But you can still definitely build because you can't really build around it as Gunner.
It's handy to have as well.
Yeah, but there's no builds that necessarily complement it as Gunner. For me, you kind of need to use neurotoxin just so you're covered.
Maybe,
but it's still really powerful when you work around it. Yeah. I don't know.
Because, you can potentially get an obscene amount of damage, but B is not that bad. Look at what's in B. B is not inherently a negative. It's just that, it's not the best at what it does, or what it does is kind of awkward. That kind of thing. I think Mole suits B. I
think B because when you're on your own especially, it's hard to make up for what you lose when you use this.
What you lose being the potential to use either of these two, I imagine.
This one's sort of being replaced. Hellfire is the most solid AoE on the coil gun, but it's not as efficient as ultramagnetic coils, especially because you lose ammo and you have to use full charge shots as well. So you have a much more limited number of shots. It's like the fat boy of the coil gun, basically. But it is really powerful. So it's just a solid A to me. It's one of the most solid A's.
Alright.
You don't seem to care. You don't seem to care.
I barely use anything, to be honest. Along the coil gun. I did try this though when you taught me about the triple tech chambers kind of efficient firing.
So triple tech though, I'm gonna put it in B because it got knocked off its throne by this because this is so much more intuitive as well. And I think that this makes a little bit more sense to me when this, it's sort of like 3 stages. This is arguably, it has slight potential to be even more efficient than this, but I think this is, I can't actually tell which one. I just know this is much less intuitive, but I might still put it in A because of how good it can be. It's just because I think these 3 do the same kind of thing. I just think this is so much more easy and efficient.
I think triple tech should be put down to B. If something is just better at what it does and that does it in a more awkward way, then it belongs in B.
It does have one exploit at the moment where you can give yourself like permanent damage resistance, but it's obviously not intended. So
right.
Oh right. Yeah. Oh boy. So this is all. This is all GK2. All of it. Right. So this is clean. This is ammo. No, it's actually not ammo. It's magazine size and recoil. Feels pretty good. Not really doing anything though.
Yeah. Well, clean ammo. It doesn't offer.
Well, no, it's not ammo. Yeah. It says compact ammo. It's just a little bit magazine size and recoil reduction.
Yeah, well, that too.
GK2 could probably do with an ammo.
Yeah, I think C.
Yeah. It's not. It's not. Gas rerouting is just.
Don't linger on clays.
No. Gas rerouting is just fire rate and reload speed. Kind of upstaged by this.
How much is it? Just like. Yeah, so
I think this adds twice as much. Yeah, gas rerouting. I like it quite a bit, but it's sort of confusing why I would use it over this. Homebrew powder, I think, is actually pretty good. I think it's quite underrated. I might go
underrated.
for A.
I think it is rated. I think that it's one of the people's actual valid ones, or this is actually one of the better ones.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that because I think it's just more consistent damage than all these 3. Because obviously it doesn't slow it down, and you can still increase the fire rate. It's much more consistent increased damage than these 2 as well, especially just these 2 in general. So I want to put it there because I like that. This big fire rate, but big recoil. Feels really good. Is quite good. But it's not. It's awkward because it doesn't actually increase damage. It's just fire rate. And that's it. So I don't know.
Yeah,
my heart kind of does tell me B.
Directly. I mean, I don't know. The issue is with it's a bit the same with the Sabata, that it's kind of an issue of nothing is that good, which I realise now. I know we did put one in spot. But
well, this is kind of the automatic fire of the GK2, in my opinion. So probably belongs in the same tier.
Yeah.
Probably the same with Bullets of Mercy, because it's not a trap, like Axis Chrono said it was. But I don't think it's crazy either.
It's like, then what is with the GK? Because I know AO's stability engine, you're probably going to put even lower, right?
Yeah.
I think generally people would. So, I mean, and electrify and reload, but I mean, Bullets of Mercy, I think it's a bit higher up at least. Because you are actually gaining damage, and it's not hard to apply status effects to it. You do generally quite easily get boosts in damage, especially with the Cryo Zhukovs. You can get a pretty strong build going with Bullets of Mercy. And it can generally just be helpful with other teammates as well, just picking off their status effects enemies. I don't know. I think it's better than B. I think what even is the negative of Bullets of Mercy?
It's just decreased magazine size. It's definitely hard to knock, I suppose. But the problem is, right? It does elemental damage bonuses, which means it's just not direct damage, and I think this is just direct damage and more consistent. But
do you want to put that in S?
No.
Well, I'm not sure what is, because I mean, AI Stability Engine, I like it. I like AI Stability Engine, but
this one is a bit more of a trap to me. Actually, this leans towards trap.
I think it's,
in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it is kind of good, but it's just slow and weird.
And awkward, and more often than not, you can't really do it.
They should have
it's good when you can, like if you got a bunch. I think probably D.
Yeah, they should have thought of better downsides than decreasing damage as well. That's what really makes this a problem. The fact that it decreases direct damage, and you have to hit weak points to get more than normal damage. That's the problem with it.
Yeah.
This fella.
Well, it's either in like Y or S. That's the issue. Because it's the most ammo efficient thing in the game. It is essentially the most unlimited damage you can do.
Oh god, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm thinking Y because it's easy to put it there. I'm thinking Y.
I think we've got to put it in Y. Speedrun. Put it in Y.
Okay.
It is.
Well, the same. Is that the same for this? Overclock. I'm on the M1000 now.
Yeah, I would put it in Y. I don't see why they did that. I don't think it's inherently bad, but it's not that good either.
Yeah, I've basically got nothing to say about it, but I've seen.
M1000.
I saw a video where I was like, "Oh, this is actually like the best thing in the world." But no, actually, it wasn't like this is the best thing. It was just pointing out weird stuff you can do with it. It's not actually good. It's not actually good. Right, minimal clips. This is reload speed and this is all M1000.
Let's just put C.
Yeah, it's reload speed and magazine size. It doesn't actually add anything. You can't make a build around this. Unlike the next two, which I think are the best for it. So active stability engine. This is faster focus speed, and you don't lose movement speed while focusing. But you get slow reload. I think this is really good. Yeah, probably. Tom really likes this.
Yeah, he's like for ages. It's like the only reason he uses Scout, I imagine.
It's actually good at getting a lot of focus shots out in a short period of time. It's probably the best without changing the M1000 too much. Unlike this idiot.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I hate hipster, but it's ridiculous. It's broken. I do think
you can do whatever you want with it. Put hipster on, and that's it.
It's not that far. It's not too broken in my opinion. It doesn't need to be brought down that much. I just think everything else needs to be brought up a little bit. But hipster still needs to be brought down in some capacity. Just not tanked.
And there we're gonna put another. Well, no, yeah, D. Super cooling.
So super cooling chamber also shouldn't be a Y because it's the sniper overclock, but it's a downgrade. Like it's obvious why it exists.
Just needs to be fixed. Like it's just currently broken in its current state. Yeah, I mean it's D. I mean, I want
although
to know,
this is arguably a Y.
Well, so far.
I think.
Yeah.
Because this makes much more sense than this.
Yeah.
It's like how could you actually think this good? This could be good if it was like an electric AoE, like with focus shots, but it's not, and that's not what it was intended to be. So I question what it was meant to be from conception.
Why?
Impact deflection, awesome. I love it. with the plasma splash.
An A though.
It's great. Yes, I would. It's like solid scout AoE takes care of it for scout. It's one of its best AoE options.
Alright.
TLC, tender loving care, thermal liquid coolant. This is just a bunch of cooling rates and stuff and like heat push shot. So not important to me.
I mean C or B, right? I mean it probably ain't. I mean it's not D.
Not B. Not B. It's not positive enough because like it's not like the Drak actually benefits from you being able to shoot it for longer. Some of its best overclocks, well, mainly just this. Some of its best overclocks, like this one and this one, you don't shoot for very long. Rewiring mod. Yeah. Oh fuck.
Isn't that a Y?
Yeah, probably. Because it's not actually executed that badly. Because it's.
Yeah.
It's kind of just shouldn't exist.
Why can't why can't you just give him ammo? It's like, it's my main example for the new gen of weapons just having so overcomplicated overclocks that just kind of ruins some of them.
It's a stupid idea executed fine, basically, which is why I think Y is actually quite appropriate for it.
Aggressive venting. No. Ah!
I don't know, man. I really actually think that might actually be the best Drak overclock, especially if you consider the Drak an AoE tool. This is the shit, man. It can also do electric AoE when you have that mod equipped. It applies that to everything it hits. It's just good shit, man. And no downsides either. No downsides for crazy good AoE and fear. It's just... yeah.
Alright. Sure. Over to Particle Accelerator. I don't think it's bad. I'm looking at like B.
I was thinking B as damage. Well. It's a big damage increase, right? It's big, but it does have considerable downsides. I think it's actually a fairly well balanced overclock, to be honest, because it's one of the biggest damage increases, but the downsides do make up for it in a way where if you don't get along with them, and I personally don't, you wouldn't prefer this over this fella. But they're both a bit weird. So B is a pretty appropriate place for it.
Alright.
Shield battery booster. It's either this is obviously either a D or a Y. I can't. So
I'm leaning more towards D.
Same.
Because I kind of get why they did it. I think it's a bit of a wild idea, but like, I don't know.
Shield based overclock. It's cool.
Yeah, it was an interesting experiment, but it failed. And so D. it's yeah.
Poor thing. Although, right, okay. Sorry, I do need to say something about this. So after the Drak got nerfed a little bit, they took away a lot of ammo. This now adds 100 ammo. It's actually not a bad. If you treat it as a clean, it's actually not a bad ammo booster. But for what it is, it belongs in D. I just wanted to point that out. It's not going to bring it up though. This is really weird because it's like crazy good DPS, but it's fire based. So it's like it's probably not great against like bosses and things. But it's still like really strong. Well, I think I prefer it to this.
Accelerator. Would you say it's the kind of the same thing?
They're sort of.
Particle Accelerator is like boss damage. This is going to be enemy damage.
This is more intuitive. I think this is actually better though.
All right. Would you say it's as good as Impact Deflection?
I think in their category they are actually, because this is slightly second to aggressive venting in AoE. This isn't as good as of an AoE tool as aggressive venting is as this is for single target, but I think it's better than OPA still. So for single target damage, this is the Drak's go-to, but I don't think that's really what the Drak's for. But it's still really good. So to make sure, yeah, we're getting a little bit off screen. There's gonna be a lot of scrolling.
It's gonna be inevitable.
Yeah. All right. Who's next? Oh look, it's the Bulldog. Not the Bulldog. Sorry. Boomstick. So the C's are gonna be weird. All right, hold on quickly. Double barrel.
Double barrel in Y. Compact shells. It's just ammo, right? C.
It's ammo and reload speed. It's pretty. Is it? Either way, it's decent.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it could be higher than C, but I don't think it's anything of note, right?
No.
So yeah, C.
Special powder, right? How honest are we going to be about special powder? I don't know if we should go with like the obligatory ranking.
But no, it's not obligation when it's a fact that special powder is the only reason why the boomstick should be in the game. It provides nothing else other than special powder. Like, I am sorry, but that's just how it is. Like, special powder is amazing at what it does.
It's that good for the boomstick that it probably should be an S.
It is an S.
But I don't think it's not these overclocks, but For the boomstick, it is.
Because it does other things as well, though. Stuffed shells, it's probably not bad, is it? It's just...
I think it's actually probably the same. It's just if you prefer damage or ammo. These two are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Shaped shells is probably in the same, if not B. I'm not sure. Because it feels
what is it, like?
decent. It's accuracy, but you lose a little bit of ammo. Thankfully, they changed it from damage penalty to ammo penalty, but it's not a big one at all. It feels pretty decent. I'd definitely rather use it over these two, so that's why I think I'll put B. Yeah. Jumbo shells. Yeah. Jumbo shells is good. It's pretty decent. It's one of the better ones for the... It's not what makes the boomstick. Yeah. Obviously, this makes the
Speedrun once again.
Oh, look, it's the Zhukovs. Minimal magazines feels pretty good, man. Fire rate and reload speed feels really good for the Zhukovs.
Do you think it's B?
At least B.
You think it'd lean into... Alright, we'll see to A, but I don't think about that. Yeah, sure, put it B, definitely, for now. If it's noteworthy. Custom casing...
Same thing.
I mean...
Actually, I think custom casings feels pretty much just as good, even though they're slightly different, because this actually decreases rate of fire, but it's a nice amount of magazine size, and serves as a small, ammo boost too. Yeah. Pretty good upgrade. That's definitely not. People said that it's some. I've heard someone say it's not an upgrade. That's wrong. This is definitely a positive. Cryo minelets.
Cryo minelets. This is where I think one of the only ones I notably remember where we're going to disagree with Axis Kronos, where we think this isn't a trap and it's just good. it's just very good.
Yeah.
At freezing things.
I think I would say A because you can definitely make builds around it.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to admit,
it's good enough for that.
The longer I've used it, it gets more awkward. The more you realise you now can't deal with Mactera and stuff like that, it does become a pretty annoying thing to have. But when things go your way and it's just a crowd of grunts on the floor, it just disappears. Like, it's just easy peasy lemon squeezy. Everything's now frozen and you just kill everything.
So you agree with this?
I don't think it's inherently the best. Yeah,
cool.
I think it's definitely up there. But not as up there as Embedded Detonators.
Scroll. I wanted to put it straight in S, but I couldn't because it wasn't on screen. It's just not even... Do we even need to say anything?
Let's pray, but better.
What? Oh, yeah. It's also better than explosive reload, probably. Gas recycling.
Yeah, do them combined.
Fuck me. I don't know.
Well, gas recycling is just embedded detonators, but not that. Isn't it just increases your damage, but you lose weak point, right?
Yeah, it's somehow much less convenient than embedded detonators, which is weird, considering it's not like a weird mechanic.
Because it's not a debuff, is it? At the end of the day, it still does increase your damage by a margin, but it's just kind of like you're kind of used to aiming at weak points, so it's kind of weird to not do that.
Gas recycling could really benefit from like an armor breaking addition, because the Zhukovs just doesn't have that even as a mod. And you're meant to use it for body shots.
Would it matter though?
Yeah, because then you do more damage to grunts' bodies, and you'll be able to clear grunt hordes easier. If you can't do more damage to their faces, at least let's do more damage to the bodies themselves. My opinion is C, because it's not.
Right.
Yeah, that's my opinion. And I'm in control.
Yeah,
I don't think much would be done to make it strong, but it's in a weird position as it stands.
Once I got my hand on explosive reloads, nothing else was really worth it. Other than cryo minutes, but yeah. Crossbow.
Someone made a video about the crossbow recently, and it was weird because he was just like, this is the crossbow. These two. So quick fire, is a C.
It fucking sucks.
My opinion, it sucks. Well, but it's like 2 positives, so we can't put it in D.
Yeah, but it
doesn't serve a purpose for the crossbow.
You should never pick it over any of the other ones ever.
No,
it's by far the bottom of that. Yeah. Sure, it does buff you, but the things that it buffs you, you don't fucking need. It just feels horrible.
Doesn't make special bolts better. Doesn't actually make the standard bolts stronger in the way that the others do.
Yeah. I guess that's the only thing. It's just that is the only default standard bolt kind of build, I guess, which is other than this one, which isn't really a standard bolt build. It's
Specialist is much better though.
We're looking at A, right?
I think so too. Yeah, if you like the special bolts.
Because if you want to rely on the special bolts, the Specialist is it. It gives you everything you want at a very good amount, and or it's sure the option.
This is more for taser bolts and explosive chemical bolts, though. Pheromones is more for these two. But yeah, Specialist is great because it's increased special bolt capacity and like duration. So it really does buff the special bolts in a way that is noticeable.
Yeah.
Cryo bolt. I'm thinking B. It's actually quite good, but it gets outshone.
Just because Cryo is, yeah.
And I think Cryo Minelets are more of a unique pick of the two. I don't know.
You could also freeze a lot more with Cryo Minelets than Cryo Bolts. Cryo Bolts are kind of awkward as well.
I think Cryo Bolts is slightly more flexible because you've got you do actually arguably have more range, and you can probably freeze like breeders with it as well.
Sure, but
I don't think it's
still not that
if you're
good.
using the crossbow, you've got more reason to pick firebolts.
Which you're putting in S.
Yeah, it just is. It's amazing wave clearing, and it's not that hard to understand either. It's not obvious how to use it, but once it's not,
as we witnessed,
there's not that many stages to get there, and once you're there, it's probably some of the best crowd clearing. Better on solo, apparently, though, than with friends for some reason. But
well, that's how it is.
Crazy.
It's the same thing with Driller and his primaries. Or like generally, it's just it feels better to be on your own and be able to just deal with the enemies than have other people kind of take your kills while you're waiting for them.
This is still the best wave clearing for a scout secondary.
Yeah.
So that's why it goes there. Bodkin points. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty fun.
I watched the video earlier. It was like Sneers. He just posted a very short video. He was using Bodkin points, and I agree with him. It's just good. It is quite good. It is not anything special. It's just good.
Yeah.
Like it kills like 3 Glyphids at a shot. You just shoot.
So you can do a lot more with cryo bolts, by the way, which is why I think there needs to be a gap between the two. But this is still very intuitive and quite a bit of fun as well. It feels pretty cool to use. So I'm giving it a respectful B. I don't know if you're going to argue for higher.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. B is fine for now.
B for Bodkin.
For now. We're not coming back to it, but yeah. My now issue is that I like the volley, but also I don't think it's that good at what it does.
I think Trifog Volley is good because special bolts exist, right? That you have both, and that's why I think it's at least equal to jumbo shells. If we're putting jumbo shells in A, we have to at least put Trifog Volley in A, because you get more damage out of this with less shots, admittedly, but you also have special bolts, and it feels better against bosses than jumbo shells for me as well.
Yeah, it's your boss option with the crossbow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really see any other crossbow things that would be good for that, other than I guess like taser bolts.
But it's still good in general because you use magnetic shafts and taser bolts, and you can like laser enemies across the room with this because they home in on it. You don't need to take velocity either. It pairs amazingly with taser bolts.
You can do more damage with them, right? If they're in electric field, or is that on the crossbow?
Yeah, magnetic shaft. It homes in on electrified targets and does more damage to them. That's what this was made for.
Yeah,
well, they were made for each other.
It takes like 2, which is 6 crossbows to kill a Torian that is electric, which is not the best. That's kind of my issue with it. Like, it's not actually. I mean, it's still good, but it still feels a bit less than you would hope it is. So that's kind of why it's in A.
But in my opinion, these two are. I think this is actually slightly better than jumbo shells because it's on the crossbow. What's this?
Fair enough.
What's this?
Now we're going back.
Oh, back to the EPC. Right. So
magnetic cooling unit.
I don't know if anyone uses this.
What one is it?
It's the other clean.
Is it like the opposite of the good one?
Faster cooling rate and slower heat build up when fully charged. Seems good for thin containment field, but nothing else.
I think it's definitely a C. And there's no harm in it, but it's also not really what you want to be running most of the time. It's more of like a crutch, I think. It's for people that need to get down the timing and need a bit of leeway.
Heat pipe, which is like the opposite because you build up more heat when fully charged.
Heat pipe. Yeah, what's the positive though?
Faster charge rate and I've got a burp coming up. Charge shots use less ammo.
Yeah, I like heat pipe. I'm thinking like B probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't care about it, but whatever.
I think that's what I used on my like breech cutter build, where I freeze all the enemies in front of me and then charge up a flying nightmare that just tears through them, because it allows me to charge out the flying nightmare quicker than they can unfreeze. So it did work, although the timing was a bit annoying. But yeah, I like heat pipe. I think it is better than nothing.
Heavy hitter.
Heavy hitter.
So
well, I mean,
it's
not controversial take. No, don't start with. Put it in S. Just put it in S. Just get in there. Get it in its throne.
Yeah, these two are almost
why...
equal in damage, to be honest, and this has more utility, I'd argue. Well, it does. It has more utility than explosive reload, which doesn't really have utility.
Yeah. Heavy hitter is basically like the large shots are only really used for mining. Like, the EVC just charge shots just ain't really there. I mean, it's 50% of the reason. The other bit is I don't think we need to say much about heavy hitter. It's just amazing. But the other reason why charge shots aren't really used is because overcharger over here fucking blows. It sucks ass.
It's so bad.
It consumes. I think I'm not using the most efficient version of it, but you could get it so where you're consuming 10 ammo per charge shot. So you will then basically do like I think it's like 18 shots you can have in the fucking thing, and it does not do enough damage to warrant that.
I mean, at least equal the grenades, but like the radius and the damage is just
yeah, it's horrendous.
This, however,
and I think persistent plasma. I think I'm looking at like a B.
I don't know.
Ever a negative.
I'll let you do this. No,
I think not. Persistent plasma. I don't think you can run quite passively. It's not that bad. I think
seems really cool for Fin Containment Field as well.
Maybe A.
Say pair together.
I feel like if we use it more, might get up to an A, but for now, B.
I think it's what people use.
I don't think anyone's going to fight me on that.
I think it's what people use when they use Fin Containment Field for crowd clearing. I don't know. Seems pretty cool, man. One to the wave cooker.
Yeah.
So we got here. Okay, this is liquid cooling system, wave cooker. It's got 3 positives, but they're all heat based. It's like heat generation and like cooling rate and stuff. So even though it's got 3 positives for the wave cooker, this isn't actually doing anything.
It's once again, it's just a crutch. Not a crutch. It's like a you know, if you're running a bike, the little training wheels. It's one of those. It's where you pick up the weapon and it keeps overheating. So you put these like on, say, with magnetic cooling unit, and so you can actually learn to use the weapon, and eventually you can take it off and make it good. Like,
but you need one of those. The weapon is this lot really. That's the thing though.
Yeah. That's the thing, which is kind of an issue with super focusing lens.
Super focusing lens should be good.
Honestly,
it should be good because it's plus 50% damage within like 4 meters of you.
I don't think it's ever really done that much, though.
No, it doesn't feel like it does that much, certainly.
Although I feel like if it does actually do what it says, it should be in B.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never felt it.
Should we assume, though? It's sort of like, this is kind of where it deserves to be, based on what it sounds like it should be.
If it does what it says, it's a pretty good claim. But I've never really feel it.
I'm also not too bothered about where we put it. So...
I feel like putting it in B. I feel like people that actually use it and can use it and it does work deserve it to be in B. But I don't think it should be any higher than that.
No, I said I don't mind where it goes. Just these two, B or C. Diffusion ray, not
benefit of the doubt.
My cup of tea. But I think people like this one.
I think it's an overall positive.
Well, it does decrease your damage.
It's an overall not inherently a positive. The thing is, though, is that with the wave cooker, you often kind of aren't shooting them front, or you don't really want to shoot them front on. Like, you'd be jumping above them to hit as many as you can, and this do that, but you could always just do that for other builds. So I don't think it's that good. Most of the
sort
time.
of like
I have a build with it.
It's like the light version of the other overclocks that pair better with the primaries. Because, you know, this is like...
Yeah.
This is for the other two, this is for the sludge pump. This is kind of for both, but not quite as good.
Yeah, no.
Speaking of which...
It's pretty middling.
Mega power supply.
I'm sorry, but how is it not an S?
I guess so. Because it's like, it's big ammo and fire rate. It's just... It's great for pretty much any build. Like, even like the boiler ray build, where you don't rely on the primary. It's like the best you can do with that. Right? Not that that's amazing necessarily.
It's just so...
But it's also great for temp. It's the best for temperature shock too. It's just it's ridiculous.
Yeah. The ammo efficiency that you could acquire with this overclock is unparalleled. Other than exploding or electric reload. So, you know, give or take.
And the other guy,
I think it's an ETS.
Yeah, actually, I agree. Blistering Necrosis. Very powerful,
like
but inconsistent.
I can acknowledge that it isn't bad.
So
I think we're looking at an A.
Its power is like it's pretty much S tier, but it's just so inconsistent that it's like it's quite difficult to use. It's like an S tier that's just really inherently awkward. Like, it's not even like it's unintuitive. It's not like it's hiding what it is. It's just outwardly awkward. It's just it's a bastard, but it's really strong.
And it's a bit glitchy, although as far as I'm aware, the glitches benefits it, where it's currently glitching to where it does double the damage it should, which is pretty strong. So, assuming they patch that, it probably isn't S. But, yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine in A for now. Now, this is going to be spicy.
Why?
Because I don't know where you feel like you should put
it. This is the other half, right? This is for the not for the wave cooker. Well, obviously it's for the wave cooker. But this is for the sludge pump. But it's also, I prefer this to this for temperature shock anyway, because it's great at just finishing things off, and just at generally picking things off at like a long distance as well. It's like what the wave cooker should have been, basically, as well. This is just the ammo one. Yeah, basically it actually was, right. Like, there's prototypes of it where it just does this, so it was lost along the way. I fucking love.
A bit too strong.
It's one of my favorite overclocks in the game. I think for different reasons these two are equal, but for distinctly different reasons. This is amazing for the sludge pump and still works with the temperature shock build, and makes it feel good on its own as well.
But you can't deny that Mega Power Supply is just inherently better for the temperature shock build, based on sheer efficiency.
It is better for the temperature shock build, but this is still very ammo efficient as well, but not necessarily for that build. They're different, but I think they're actually equal.
Both very good, yeah. Which I think is actually the first one we put 2S for. So
we'll look at the end. Engineer. We're on to the engineer. So, Stunner, actually. So, obviously I'm an engineer main, but I'm going to defer to you for Stunner.
I very much like Stunner. For a clean, it just boosts your damage, and like stunning, just general, it just makes the shotgun better without taking anything away. Like, you can't argue with that, really. I think B, definitely. I wouldn't pitch it any higher. Although I feel like some people could.
I wish it was more of like a Bullets of Mercy type thing that didn't rely on stun. I just don't think stun's a good thing to rely on for damage bonuses. But it's still clean.
I think for the shotgun it makes sense.
The thing I like about it the most is that you can stun on body shot. So that's probably my favourite thing about it. Lightweight magazines. This is a pretty top tier clean. It's not S tier though, but it's still like, it just feels really great. It just feels amazing. You got ammo and reload speed in one of the weapons that feels the best to give it. It just feels awesome, man. I don't
fight on that.
No,
we're in your territory.
Honestly, I should probably put it on it in S. Because I'm probably not going to put anything else in S for the Warthog. Magnetic pellet alignment.
I've been using it recently. It's good. I don't. It's good.
I think these two are pretty similar, though. They're similarly specific to me. Magnetic pellet alignment feels pretty bad at close range, I found, but it's also a shotgun, and you're relying on weak point hits. But it's still mostly a positive. I don't think the takeaways are that fell.
Damage.
And you're making the choice to use this. So the drawbacks are understandable, like fire rate. You lose fire rate. It's like, yeah, I'm not surprised that I lose fire rate for accuracy and weak point damage. But I'm not putting it higher than B. Right, cycle overload. I think I just need to be honest about this one, where I know that people love it, and I kind of like it. I see its strengths. But at the same time, I don't actually know where to put it.
Pretty mid. I don't know. I don't think it's. I mean, I've not used it that much, and your opinion is worth more. But I don't know. I don't think it's anything that special.
You know what? Here's what I'll do. These two are like These are the two sides of the same coin, and this sort of lies in the middle, and that's why it's an S. So mini shells. We're both big fans of mini shells, aren't we? But it does remove the stun. But it's not. It's basically micro flechettes what it wants to be.
Yeah. So it's micro flechettes, except that the shotgun can survive a tank to damage. Meanwhile, the Burt couldn't. The damage was
this can
too much.
Still kill like the tri-job before it gets a chance to shoot, even without the stun. That's why I don't think it's bad. It's one of the best ammo-based overclocks. This is still better though. Right, Stubby time, baby. Stubby time. Haven't used these two. These two cleans for the Stubby. We should probably just put them in C, which feels dismissive, but
yeah.
But you know, this one specifically,
like clean category, but
this one specifically is going straight in C because of that. But super slim rounds, it's like magazine capacity and recoil, which are pretty nice things to buff.
Recoil?
Oh, it's base spread. It makes it more accurate, I guess. So I can see someone liking this.
It misses?
What? This is a Stubby.
Oh, I'm dumb. Right. Yeah, no, I think it's alright actually. I think it might be in B.
I'm gonna put in B even though I have no experience with it. It just seems like people would like it, right? I don't know why. And it has more reason to be in B than this does, because this does. It's not a Y because I think it's very difficult for a clean to be a Y, but its existence is sort of nullified by Ian Refire Booster. I still don't quite know how powerful this really is, because it's fire rate and damage on a balanced overclock. It's weirdly powerful. And I think for the Stubby, oh god, it's so good for the Stubby, but it doesn't actually. It's not entirely making the Stubby worth using either. I mean, I put it in A, so I might just leave it there. Big ammo, but actually kind of worthless. Yeah, this is worthless actually. This feels horrible to use. I've tried to use this quite a few times. It's just like...
That's balanced.
It's just pointless because it doesn't actually feel ammo efficient, because you're just doing so little damage so slowly.
I mean,
and
if you're looking too much for ammo efficiency,
you've got it right here.
You're not picking that.
Yeah. Right.
Or even turret arc matches more ammo efficient.
Yeah, probably.
Turret arc is probably B. I think it is valid. Alright. You can't diss on turret arc.
Turret arc, I'll put it in B because obviously turret arc is the kind of overclock that you would make a build for. But it's not intuitive enough, or frankly, efficient enough to be higher than B. It needs help, right? It's a cool idea. It's a really cool idea, and it's not bad, but it still needs some love. So it's just going to sit right there for me. Oh dear. This fella is really, really strong and really ammo efficient. But I think wherever they go, these two have to stay together. Because they're sort of the two ends of they're the two ends of the Stubby, and I don't think they can be separated.
I don't think either of them deserve to be an S.
Well, that's why neither of them are an S.
Yeah, I know, but you're implying that if they go up, they both have to. But yeah, I think this is just, once again, you notice that the things that we objectively think are weaker aren't even cracking S tier. Like GK and now the Stubby. We can't see an S tier overclock. But yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Moving on.
Smart rifle, baby.
Eraser.
Actually, hold on.
Yeah, just pop that.
Because
no, just pop that in there. Put the NSO, just pop it right in there.
Eraser.
I don't think we have to explain it.
Good if you like the smart rifle as it is, basically, because it also works as adding a little bit more ammo because it's increased magazine capacity and number of locks. I don't want more target locks personally, but I feel like noobs like this, basically.
Oh, hot take.
Yeah. I mean, I might put it in C, actually. I don't know.
A level 2000 watching it that uses a razor.
Armor break module, however, probably the same. I think this is actually better than a razor, so I might pop a razor down to C, because armor break module is weird. It's a weird buff. It's basically just an armor break mod for the smart rifle, so it does kind of feel like you're sacrificing it, because of these guys. But it's like 1,250% armor breaking at full lock. But you'd have to use it against enemies that you wouldn't really use it against, or in the same way that you would. It's weird, but it's kind of good.
Alright.
Oh god.
I mean that's at least A, right?
It's at least A. It's just I don't think it's flexible enough to go above. Like, I see people use it with like the breech cutter and hyper propellant. I don't think it's usable without the Shard Diffractor's existence. But because the Shard Diffractor does exist, this has a place. And it's just going to sit right here in A tier. It's really good if you're using the Shard Diffractor.
Also quite satisfying.
It is. It's really satisfying. It's great against... it's actually weirdly good against swarmers and NATO sites and shredders. Anyway, the Seeker. B.
Yeah, I don't think anything wrong with Seekers, but I don't think it leads to the best builds either, which I think is kind of where B is.
Yeah.
So
right. Executioner. Let's go right up in S because it's like similarly powerful in its department, but it's way more consistently usable than this. Executioner can be used with most builds and most like secondaries. Like, it's because the engineer secondaries are more naturally AoE, and Executioner complements that by being hard, like precision single target.
I have never been able to make Executioner work. Like, because you keep mentioning how good it is, and I try it, and I can't stand it. I run out of ammo immediately. I don't feel good at all, and then I die. And meanwhile, chemical explosion rounds picked up pretty easily, and it was like it felt very rewarding and pretty damn good. Like, I don't know. I prefer chemical explosion.
Right, is what I say. Doesn't feel particularly good for general use. That's not what it's meant for, but I still pick up on it, and it doesn't really work with the grenade launcher. So I might put them in the same boat.
Ooh, could you not bring them both up?
All right.
I think that's fair because I think they are both very good.
Right. Okay. The grenade launcher. So these three are pointless. Unfortunately, right?
Pack rat and compact rounds, put just in C. Just get it over and done with.
Okay.
Because sure, it's a positive. No, that's clean sweep. I don't.
Hold on. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Put them in there. I don't think clean sweep should be pushed aside like the other two. Right?
No.
I do like it. It doesn't mean I think it's good. But I have a build with it which I find pretty fun. It's on my stunning build where it's just AoE and then I slap stun on the grenade launcher, and it just like stuns a horde, kills most of the middle bits, and then stuns the rest. And it feels pretty good. It's probably not the best thing to put on it, but it's up. It's a build, and so I don't really want it to be dismissed. So I think
it's like it's obviously positives, and it's like for people who don't want to like do the best they possibly can. They just like the grenade launcher as a grenade launcher.
Yeah. And I think it's only really fair because then these three are going to be like way higher up, right? Like it's slightly better than those other two ammos, but yeah.
So yeah, RG250. The reason it goes all the way up, it's going up. Well, okay, let's keep it here for now. So these two are made useless because this adds more ammo, and the best way to use it is with incendiary compound anyway, where your damage doesn't matter that much. It's only going to be killing grunts anyway, so you just want more ammo. Plus, escape mode. You can just escape with it.
Yeah, so it's just more efficient. Well, thing is though, Harry, is that the best way of using it? Like, sure, it's the best. It's better than those other two ways, but is it actually the best way of using the grenade launcher?
No, because these two give you more reason to use the grenade launcher over the other two secondaries. RG250 doesn't give you much reason to use it over the Breech Cutter or the Shard Diffractor. These two do.
Yeah.
I still don't think they're actually better though, so as we'll see. Fatboy, it's like it's got so much love surrounding it, but not. So the love around Fatboy isn't actually because it's good, right? But even though it is good, but it's not actually because it's like the best thing, because it's not. But it gives you reason. Yeah. It's a reason to use the grenade launcher over the other two because it's so obvious in what it does, and it is good at what it does. You're just very limited ammo-wise.
Just put high propellant in A, because I don't think it should be higher than A.
I would never put it higher than A.
I know you wouldn't, and that's what I used to say, because even though I'm using it recently, and it does feel good, and it's quite nice, it's still
it feels good, but what you're sacrificing isn't worth it to me.
Yeah.
I'm just recognising its equalness to Fatboy.
I think if any of them, Fatboy does deserve to be an S. The damage and area control you can do, while limited, is ungodly.
But, take that word, limit, it's the grenade launcher pushed to the limit in the way that makes the most sense for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm okay with that, because I do like Fatboy. So, it can go there. Yeah. Right, okay, Breech Cutter. Right, okay, moving on. Roll control is a Y.
That's fella's Y, wasn't it? I don't even know what it does.
So, I don't actually agree with Y, to be honest. It's only because it basically when you hold, as long as you're holding the trigger after firing, it just spins like as it's going along.
What kind of what way? Like spinning death or like?
No, the opposite.
Right. It's for Mac Terrors, right? It's to like clear out the skies.
Yeah. Or to like line it up, like so it's like along like the length of like a spitballer or something. But I like it because I think it's good with plasma trail, because you can actually have plasma trail cover more ground with this because you can spin the projectile. So it's like a tube of plasma. I like it for that. I don't actually think it's a Y. I think it could be like better, as in they could go further with it and make it like stronger with some drawbacks, but. I don't want to put it in Y. Stronger plasma current, B, possibly A.
It's just a slight damage boost.
Yeah. No, it's damage boost and lifetime, projectile lifetime.
Oh.
So you can take more magazine size. So I think this is actually really good for DPS. It just doesn't hit many meaningful breakpoints with smaller enemies. Right, you're killing probably the same things.
Yeah, you're killing everything, and it's not really killing Praetorians in more than 2 shot. Like it's just not one shot Praetorian, so it doesn't really cross anything important.
No. Right. Okay. What's next? Return to Snedder. Return to Sinner.
Isn't I don't know. I thought it was all right. Like throughout my entire DRG lifespan, I thought it was like one of the best, and I still don't think it's bad.
It's not as effective as it seems.
I do think it belongs in C.
That's probably a bit mean, isn't it? Yeah. It's like because it is technically double. It's so weird because it's technically double damage, and you don't lose anywhere near to half your ammo. It's like -3 ammo or something, or -6 actually, but it's not like half your ammo. You've got more than a half your ammo still, and technically double the damage, so it should be good. But it's just
that you have 2 shots per shot, basically. But most of the time, you'd rather just have more shots, because if you're using them against grunts, then the grunts are already dead first way round. So then your second shot coming back isn't really doing anything.
Yeah, so it doesn't feel good to use like for AOE, but you still don't.
Or hordes, but for like bigger enemies, it's up there. So I think it equals out at B.
Right, high voltage crossover is kind of pointless, unfortunately.
I do think it's a Y.
It's a Y because you've got like the more ammo one, you've got one that adds more damage than this does as a clean, and you've got Inferno. So unfortunately for high voltage crossover, this is the one where it's like so replaceable that it's in Y. It's not actually an inherently bad idea.
Like nothing is gained by having this be an option, really.
No. Poor thing. Spinning Death. I've actually been using this recently, last night. Pretty good.
I very much like it. It helps that I realised that's basically the overclock I came up with in the workshop. It's just already in the game, which is nice.
Yeah, I think it's probably not A, but it feels like it's a good hybrid of single target and horde, like crowd clearing, but you do kind of have to choose because you're quite limited. It's almost like a mix between Fat Boy and Hyperpropellant, except without the range. It's really weird, but pretty good.
I think it's A. I think it belongs in A.
I think so too.
A bit like Jumbo Shells and Trifort Valley. It just does a lot of damage in an area, and you can't really fault it for that.
Yeah.
Inferno, on the other hand. Yeah, there you go. It's a real dramatic climb at this point, isn't it?
It is actually, isn't it? I can't really elaborate. I think you just get to choose between these two, because this somehow does way more than it seems like it does. But it does those things. It's really, really good. So
I don't.
You just gotta choose.
Considering literally playing the game, I watched you use the Breech Cutter, and I was just in shock and awe of the absolute evil amount of damage that you did. And once I actually unlocked it, I never really used it, which I don't know why. So I don't really experience Inferno.
Inferno is like the me pick, right? It's basically all I use on the Breech Cutter. I actually don't like using it without Inferno, so I don't like this. Inferno is just me having so much success with it that it goes here. It's just I can't really elaborate.
It's just there.
Right.
That might be one of the controversial takes that will get someone else to make a speedrun video.
I think Axel's trying to put it in A. Right, efficiency. We're on the Shard Diffractor now. Efficiency tweaks. It's at least A, because, in my opinion, it's the best for single target on the Shard Diffractor. Which means it should probably go in S. You just have more ammo and more magazine size. Quite a bit as well, with no downsides. It's really good. Like, it's basically lightweight cases, which is why I might actually put it in S.
Alright.
No, I will, because one of my strongest builds uses it. Or what I think might actually be my strongest build. I just don't like the build very much. I just acknowledge that it's my strongest build. Oh. Right. So, this is the one
that I use this.
This is the why, but we know why, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a why. It's a rhetorical why, and we know the answer. It's because they didn't want to throw away the mechanic.
Yeah, but it's not.
And I don't think it's
obligatory. Its existence is obligatory, basically. It's like
I don't think it's bad. I think it probably would be in like B, probably. A bit awkward, but yeah.
But it's just the fact that you can match the ammo. I think even surpass it with this. And you don't have the downsides of being forced to... Yeah. Feedback loop can die.
Oh,
well, okay. I'm going to put it here, because you just lose too much ammo, but it's not like what it adds is bad. It's a good effect, kind of, but you don't lose ammo to make it worthwhile.
Do you think it's bad, Harry?
I think it's a bad choice, actually. I think it could be good, though. but unfortunately, as it stands, to me, it's a bad choice. Unlike this.
Alright. This is... What is that?
So this is the Magma one, right? Now, I'm actually not going to put in S after recent consideration.
I'd never use it.
I do think it's like, if you use it well, it's like disgustingly ammo efficient and versatile. But it's not actually, doesn't actually have that much stopping power. It's not going to like, it doesn't just put things down in the way that Fat Boy or just the Ridge Cutter does. But it's
more like sticky flames.
Yeah, it is.
Just
I think it's better.
Infinite range sticky flames.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't put it any higher. If that helps your choice. I don't think it belongs higher.
Thing is, I do think it's the best crowd clearing option for the Shard Diffractor. But
yeah,
that can still be an A.
Endothermic explosion.
No, I don't. Endothermic explosion, you have to really consider what you're doing with it. The drawbacks are, it's not actually that versatile because obviously you have to use your platforms and you can't use it close to you. It's not a get out of jail free card at all. It's arguably Fat Boy with like a lot more like shots, a lot more uses, but it's not very flexible either.
Yeah. I tried using it because it's the fun overclock, right? But then you kind of end up in the situation where the enemies you want to detonate end up walking over the platform, and then they just like you hit the enemy instead.
It's hitting the enemies is the problem with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it still doubles your damage and radius when you're shooting platforms as well. It's got some really good things going for it. It's just not. It's just like the friendly fire and the self damage are some of the worst out of any like weapon, just in general.
And its complexity,
it's just not quite flexible enough to be an A. Its strength is like S tier strength. It's just got weird. It's just weird. Let's just leave it there.
It's fun.
Overdrive Booster. It doesn't respect itself, and so I don't respect it either. It shouldn't be like half-assing itself. It should just go for it. It shouldn't be like you have to press X to boost. It shouldn't be a choice. It should just be
I didn't even know it had that when I first used it.
It should just be half ammo.
I'd stopped using it.
It should just be half ammo with 2.5 times damage, and you can't move. But it's not, and it makes it worse in every way than it could be.
Well, it's just once again new gen complications ruining overclocks. Like that's another example of one of them.
Yeah.
I think no more needs to be said.
But it's technically efficient if you use it well. So it's not D. Right, I think this is all gunner now.
Yeah.
A little more oomph on the minigun. Yeah, it's one of the damaged ones. But, well, it's pretty difficult for the minigun to have bad overclocks, right? A little more oomph.
All the way in A?
Yeah, a little more oomph is awesome.
I guess it's a lot more oomph.
It's more damage and less spin-up time, which means you can decrease your spin-up time to basically you start shooting instantly, or you can take the damage bonus mod in that tier.
And do a fair bit more damage. I
actually think this might be my favourite, apart from Burning Hell. Anyway, Thin Drum Walls, C. There's no reason to use it over this, unfortunately. Yeah, it's just the case. Burning Hell. So, what can we say about Burning Hell? It's awesome, man, and
it's the bomb.
It's the bomb. It's the bomb. I don't think it's weird because it's slightly antithetical to the minigun, but the fact that it's such powerful AOE and has such a powerful combo effect with volatile bullets, and that it basically has no downsides.
Yeah,
it's crazy good. It's crazy good. It's the shit. Compact feed mechanism. It's pretty good. You get a lot of ammo. I don't think the negative is too much, but it's also not that necessary for the minigun. It's just good, but it's not the most necessary thing to use. Exhaust vectoring, I think, lies slightly below the other two damage ones, although I like it a lot and I think its downsides are negligible. I think the actual benefits you gain from this and Lead Storm outweigh it. It's just like a middle of the road good pick basically for damage, but the other two have more specific uses. Bullet hells and why?
You're really not fond of Ricochet.
No, none of them. It's because none of them are good except that one. No, bullet hell's bad though. It could be good.
I don't think it belongs in Y. It's their option of AOE or their thought.
No,
I mean
it's not though, is it? That's
AOE.
burning hell. It doesn't work.
Yeah, but
it's pointless because of the other two weapons.
All of the AOE is close range, other than bullet hell. This was their answer to long range because they, for some reason, hadn't thought of turning bullets into like splash like they did with the Drak. That
but
wasn't a feature.
It's much worse long range AOE than the other two, and it's terrible for what the minigun's supposed to be.
Sure, then it's bad. It's not why, it's just bad.
Lead Storm is, in my opinion, not S tier.
Ooh.
Oh, actually, sorry. So the weird thing about this, even though I like this much more, I'm not going to deny Lead Storm its place, because I can work around the jumping thing. I don't like it, but the fact that people can basically make it not a downside makes Lead Storm basically a clean that lets you do insane DPS. So this is basically a case of me, I do like it, and I'm just not going to deny it its place. I see no reason to.
I don't like it. Oh. I put it in like B.
Okay. Right. Thunderhead. Composite drums. That's just more ammo and reload speed, which is like confusing.
You don't really need it though. For Thunderhead, it's just not really necessary.
No, but I actually like this one a lot. I think it has more value than it seems because Thunderhead's got so much ammo. It's like, why do you need it? But it's just like, no, it's not. There are reasons to take this. I'm not putting it in C. Splintering shells is better than carpet bomber.
Rip.
So it goes in A. It's good crowd clearing as it stands, and technically it's more flexible than our friend down here because nothing can resist its damage. But still, carpet bomber. Realistically, because of splinter. No, but because of what, I don't quite see why it shouldn't be in D.
What is its pros and cons?
It's like you gain more. Obviously, you gain more area damage and radius.
Yeah.
But it's not quite enough, to really be. It's not enough. It's not enough more than this to warrant the massive decrease in direct damage, which this doesn't do at all. It's arguably a downgrade, and I think it might actually be a down. I think it is a downgrade actually. Unfortunately, it's really sad, but I think that's the truth. Combat mobility.
Solid B.
Good, very good, very nice.
Yeah.
Got increased fire rate first of all, which feels really good. I appreciate that exists. That's probably its biggest sell. Fire rate and accuracy.
And convenience. Just being able to move around.
Yeah,
normally.
can I point out?
Nice.
Combat mobility had 4 positives once. It's pretty weird that it's got 3 positives as a balanced anyway.
Yeah.
It also had a reload speed buff.
Oh my!
And all it does is half your magazine capacity, which obviously you feel that, especially without the the reload speed. But its benefits definitely. I think this is A tier actually.
All right.
Because I think these two are equal. This is the single target damage though more so. But obviously the next two, it's easy, right?
Yeah.
Because Big Bertha, there was a time when we doubted it. But that time is over. There's a time when I doubted it.
It's the fact that Big Bertha isn't because first you use it for big enemies and dangerous targets. You're like, oh okay, high damage equals high, it gets big high health enemies. But no, it is. I'm just gonna continue to ignore that. It is just good always. Big Bertha is just overwhelming damage to everyone, and you can use it against everyone.
Yep. And it's still good at crowd clearing because it retains the base AoE and the damage you get through enemies quicker. So it's good at everything pretty much.
Yeah.
And this is just stupid.
Broken. Absolutely broken.
It's excessive. That's the problem, isn't it? That's why it's broken, because it's so excessive. When it could, in my opinion, I'd actually make it weaker and just be able to affect the robots as well. But that's just me. But still, it's so excessively good that you just have to. That's just.
I think it's I don't know if it's note, but like I remember at one point in time, I don't know if it was you or I just did it for fun, but like, or Tom even, but someone completed an entire deep dive without reloading or not needing to grab a resupply because of neurotoxin payload, and their kills were no less than everyone else. It's just so overwhelmingly efficient. That,
it's because like I choose to not use it to not make things too easy. Like, it does actually trivialize every mission except ones with robots in. It's stupid. Right. Oh, actually, hold on. So Hurricane, manual guidance cutoff. When you let go of the trigger, the rockets just go off on their own. So this for novelty's sake. Oh, what? Okay.
No, I could see the positives to that, because honestly, the amount of times I start shooting something and then look away and it misses, like sniper turrets on the ceiling, I've never even thought of using it before, but I would use that.
But
I'd definitely use it.
But see, I agree with this, because this is also kind of just what people say about it in general. It should just be like, I don't know, hit scan or something. I don't know. You haven't used it, so you don't get an opinion. Right, overtune firing mechanism. One of the better ones, just for like base Hurricane. Feels really good, increasing the fire rate and missile speed. You can use it for crowd clearing or direct damage, but I don't think it gets the Hurricane out of the pit it's in, where it's not good at what it does it's not good enough what it does compared to the other two. This doesn't save it, it's just good for default Hurricane. I think same with this. I think the consensus is that this is quite good, but to me it still has the same issue of not lifting the Hurricane above
mediocrity.
Base. Yeah, above mediocrity, which is where it normally is. No, it's not a why. It's not a why. Because there's such a cool idea, and they were also like the best thing ever in the experimental branch. They were broken.
Got nerfed into oblivion.
Yeah. But they don't have a use, unfortunately. It's a cool idea, but it was also executed well, but they just tanked it. They just buried it, basically. And it's almost unusable. It's different enough where it's not a complete downgrade. Well, it is a downgrade, but it's different. Right, my layer system. I don't want to put it in S. I think it's the best crowd clearing on the Hurricane, but its drawbacks are pretty obvious, But its drawbacks aren't ammo, by the way. It's extremely ammo efficient. That's the part about it that shouldn't be doubted. It's just and you can work around it to hit enemies in the air, but it's just like it doesn't quite have the stopping power of the Thunderhead, where you do a lot more damage like quicker, and you have things like fear on it as well. I think mine layer system, it's a bit slow, but it's really strong and efficient though if you use it well. Like, you don't need to be as skilled, I think, with Big Bertha. Mine layer system's great though. It's A tier. Jet fuel homebrew represents the same thing. It's the other end though. It's a single target damage. It's unfortunately it's not as good as these two. Unfortunately,
because this is really its contender. So those two is contender. Just a general use, higher damage output.
It's so reliant on because you're much less efficient with this than these two if you don't hit weak points, and it's not that easy to hit weak points either. Which is why it can't be equal to them, but I prefer it still.
The fact that you are probably going to miss more with this than the other ones, because you don't have the turning, yet it's also not quick enough. The projectiles are not fast enough, so you end up like missing quite a lot of the time unless you lead your shots right. Falls behind.
Unfortunately. Right. saliva module.
Now, I am an advocate of salva module.
I know you are.
And so I'm going to put it in S because I think it belongs in S.
Well, I don't.
Because it's like generally slightly more awkward than just a normal. You can just use it normally if you want to tap fire it, or you can just insta kill Praetorians whenever you feel like it, and that's just a thing that you could just do, and it's just solid, especially against bosses. It's like your best option, really. I mean, Jetful is probably not bad either, but I don't know, it's also just really fun.
I think because this is sort of just the Hurricane, right?
Just
and
slightly
you're just
going
to pick one of these, right? This is just do what you want with it, and the other two go hard in their area, right? This is the generalist one because it's good at crowd clearing and single target. But I'm unfortunately not a fan of salva module, but I am a respecter. And I think A is a respectful place that any overclock should be happy to be in. For the Bulldog, this is for the Bulldog, right? This just doesn't make sense. I agree with
you on this one because why is there two of them?
Yeah, and one of them is so much worse.
Yeah, you didn't need another version of it. You could just deal with magic bullets.
Obviously, not a downgrade either. It's just it's so baffling why you would pick it. Homebrew powder, I think is really great. Best homebrew, maybe not the best homebrew powder actually, because as I discovered, the GK2 one is good as well. But this was great. It's good single target damage without any real downsides. Because no downsides actually, because it's homebrew powder. The downside is you sometimes do less damage than normal.
Which you do feel with the Bulldog though, over the GK2.
But that's because they went harder with it. They changed it to be that way.
And because you won't notice because GK2 is like smaller increments of damage overall, but with that, you do damage, and you either do a lot of damage or you do slightly less than normal, and you notice it either way. Mm-hmm. But with GK, it's just a flood of numbers.
Right. How silly are we going to be about volatile bullets? I
think let's be realistic. It's S. Yeah. I am sorry, but like the damage output that it can do, even while being limited, it's just it's just broken. Also, put it where it is.
I want these two to be next to each other. There you go.
Alright, put firebolts next to them as well. Top right. Oh, and now put something else. Just bring like Fat Boy down one. No wait. No, you need to bring big. What's going on? Yeah.
There we go.
Alright, there we are.
What the fuck? Yeah, it's volatile bullets. Like these two are made for each other.
Yeah, they are two peas in a pod. And not to mention miniguns, tier 5s as well. Just generally the minigun and the Bulldog, those two overclocks cemented them as the best combo, I would say. 1-to-1 combo, direct combo in the game. Like, you can't point to more things that were so obviously made for each other.
Yeah, because, like, the Wave Cookie was made for all three of the primaries.
And it's newer, so this is more just before. But yeah, no, I mean, volatile bullets, nothing really needs to be said, other than we already said it.
Six-shooter, I don't know. I think it's...
B, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Downsides aren't too big. You also get ammo and fire rate and magazine size. But for some reason, you'd think it would feel better, but I think it's outshone by the other guys.
Yeah.
Such as elephant runs.
Not fond of elephant rounds, gotta admit it.
No, me neither. But I think technically it should be the same tier as homebrew powder because most of the time you get, because like the chance of you getting the 200% damage with this is very low. This is obviously all the time. It's just double damage. And not half ammo. But it just feels like really clunky. It just
very.
And you do have less ammo.
No. It's fine. Just didn't want it in S.
Same for magic bullets actually, because there was a time when I would have been like, oh, this is like, because you have to use explosive bullets and neurotoxin, right?
Then you have AoE.
But I used to think it was like the god hand. But it's not. But it is good.
Is that a Berserk reference?
No, I think it's actually. It might be by accident.
No, it definitely is.
Yeah, but I didn't get it from there. Right, but well, still, there was a time when I thought this was like the top, and it probably would have been an S because of how good of a crowd clearer it is for a gun in secondary. But the coil gun exists now,
yeah. So
it gets knocked off its pedestal, and you're better off using the Bulldog for, the single target stuff. Cemented bullets can sit. Oh my god, it's these two.
What are they doing there?
Composite casings. I don't know.
What are they even for?
This is for the Burt.
Right.
Composite casings is ammo and fire rate. This is a good one actually. It's pretty good. Where did we put compact mags? I think these are at least equal to compact mags.
Right.
This one feels really good. You've got much better DPS than compact mags, which reduces fire rate. But it's fire rate and ammo, so it's pretty cool. Full chamber seal is stupid as hell, right? It's a pathetic buff, but it is still a buff.
All right. Stop the clock. Not that we had a clock, but stop it. We are done with the speed run. And I could already know that this was not a speed run. But we still kept it at least pacier than we probably could have. I kind of want to go over what didn't make it into S, and not just all the ones that didn't make it into S, but what guns. You are clearly doing something right now, and
yeah, I'm just making sure everything's fitting in now that we're done. Because it was going to the screen on the right, the overclocks.
Yeah. So I mean, right. I know the GK2 didn't get one in S. The Hurricane didn't get one in S.
Nope.
I know there was at least one other.
Another one who didn't get an S.
Stubby.
Stubby
didn't get an S.
Yeah. Wait, where's EPC? Heavy hitter. Yeah. Right. So,
which I think is notable considering, I mean, in all fairness, obligatory special powder, right? I disagree. I think Boomstick is the worst gun in the game, but I think you've got to. I mean, you don't like special powder being there, but I would say, of those things that haven't got into S, they're definitely down there as far as guns are concerned. I think at this game.
But that's why it happened, though, isn't it? That's why they don't have something in S. Unfortunately, what was it? GK2, Stubby, and the Hurricane, right?
Yeah. Hurricane, yeah.
Oh, poor Hurricane. The reason why with the Hurricane though is because
it's just middling.
Realistically, these three should be an S, but they're not. Not because they're S tier overclocks though, but because these are the reason that the Hurricane gets used.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. But
they still don't actually hold up as well as just Big Bertha or Neurotoxic Payload's a bit of a high margin, but Burning Hell on the other ones.
Yeah.
They're just not on the same level. Yeah. I don't know. I think this was interesting. I think the cleans are really kind of spread around, which is why we didn't like how he just put cleans in slots, considering how. What are you doing? No. Double barrel. Don't put double barrel in there. Don't. You can't read the text. Yeah. I think we need some more time. We'll waste your guys' time. So thank you for watching.
It sounds like you're having a stroke.
I am having a stroke. We've been sitting here for so long. Actually, this is pretty normal considering the podcast. So
yeah.
Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something. And if you disagree with us, I'm sure you'll tell us in the comment.
I could see there being a follow-up to this if we get enough feedback. This will stay because this won't go away, right? If I come back to this tier list, it will be there.
As long as you leave it here, don't close it.
No, I don't have to close. I can close it.
Oh, even then, yeah. Just yeah, we'll come back to it maybe. But generally, yeah, I agree with most of everything. Yeah.
Well, there's gonna be disagreements because we're different people, and we're two people.
Yeah.
Unlike most other tier lists, which are done by one person.
Yeah. Now then, shorter.
Pardon me. Like, for example, Savin module. Because you want that to be next, but
I'd have put that in S.
Point
is, thank you all for watching.
Thank you all. Bye bye.